So now I'm sure for more fun, I would like to welcome our senior class speakers. They're gregarious and very humorous, Kendall, Ryan, and Sowell.
One moment, please. We need some time to prepare. Friends, parents, teachers, administrators, fellow graduates, members of the jury, Your Honor. It's been a long 4 years, so I hope you're all ready for a graphic day-by-day retelling of every event that happened in this 40 years. Just kidding. We'll try to keep this short. My good friend since first grade, Kendall, Ryan, spent a good long time thinking about what we were going to say when we were actually out there. And we eventually decided to pick apart the age-old saying of life is like a box of chocolates. Let's get jealous. Life is like a box of chocolates. How long is your box of chocolates going to last? Although life might be sweet and rewarding, you can't just speed right through that box and expect to come out all right on the other side. You have to savor every bite as if it was your last. Even the gross coconut ones that nobody wants.
See, everyone likes different chocolates. And as I continue to talk, I realized that we like different activities. And we began to hang out with people who are heading in the same direction as us. We can formulate our own ideas based off of circumstances. But understand, you may not always agree with your ideas and your beliefs. That's the world of foodies. Everyone's different. Everyone likes different chocolate. But understand that your chocolate might not taste as sweet as someone else's does to you is critical to your success. Now, the 2 points Scott and I just made are wonderful. I know. However, we want to think about it. We want to realize life isn't like a box of chocolates. So you get out of life and we put it. Life's in our hands now. We control our own destiny. No more passing the blame on the course or events. Everything from here on out is on us. See, we get out what we put in. We can always choose what goes into a box of chocolates. But fortunate for us, we choose what we do for people. Choose the type of person we become. And we have a steering wheel of our own life going. From here on out, we decide who you're going to be every step of the way.
Of course, Bill was wrong. In fact, you do know what's going to be. We've been hearing this one person, as we can remember, you get out of life what you put into it. Maybe not so much now, but in a year or so, we'll be in control of what happens to you. We'll be faced with choices. For example, do I go to that sweet care at Brad's place? Or do I study for the midterm? The choices that you make will greatly impact your quality of education and the rest of your life. It's okay to enjoy stuff up here and there, but please be wise in your decisions, because chocolate is a natural acid.
See, unlike most chocolate, life is not always going to be sweet. In fact, it might be like 100% coconut. Bitter as hell. You'll have downfalls, and times won't always be easy. The man that influence your mind will always enjoy. But at the end of the day, the hardest of times is the best of people. Everyone will need a crush, someone to lean on. And as we go on to college, I encourage you to find someone you can trust. When talking before the times aren't always sweet. Everyone who's ever been successful has had a crush. Maybe a brother or sister, a mother, a father, or a trusted friend, and sometimes only be a teacher. But what I'm saying is, don't be afraid to ask for help when times are hard. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of bravery and strength.
Not everyone's always got a box of chocolate. It's important for you to learn that every person... I completely wrote the opposite of what I meant to say. It is important to learn that not every person is as fortunate as you. We can overcome a bit of chocolate's hidden in my head. We can overcome this by learning to have compassion for others. We can overcome this by learning to have compassion for others and remembering what we learned clear back in kindergarten about sharing what we have. You never know. The impact of your actions could be more valuable to those who share it than you could have ever imagined. But of course, not everybody likes chocolate. Some people may be more receptive to receiving gifts than others. And it's important to acknowledge that. Close friendships aren't formed overnight, as I'm sure most of you know. And I'll even... Oh! And I'll even bet that some of your close friends today were your enemies a couple of years ago. It's even more important to remember that you're not going to become friends with everyone you meet. There are some real tricks out there. But learning how to deal with people in life is one of the most important lessons. Well, if someone's entire day's working because they have to wait all day to the MV, and they decide to take it on you. Or, like if it's a guy your favorite restaurant is always shooting you dirty look. For no good reason. We have to remember not to let those things upset you. You aren't going to be friends with everyone. But don't let that stop you. You have to stick to your guns and keep moving forward. Because life doesn't stop for bellyaches who don't like chocolate.
You know, the more I begin to think about it, the more I realize why I like life more than I like chocolate. See, when you get a box of chocolate, I don't know what's going to be inside. And although sure, chocolate's great, I think life's better. Because every moment is a surprise. Every day is a new day, and you never know what's to come. That's why I feel excited and scared at the same time, like many people do right now. Because life is exhilarating, full of new people, new activities, and new circumstances. When you're on out, you just have to know to control your own destiny. You're fully learning that every little action you take will define who you are. We decide what we get out of life. As we go into the world, as a man and woman, I encourage you to remember you determine the day. Every choice you make will define who you are. So choose wisely. Make your life more exciting as we see lots of chocolates. So thank you very much. Graduating class of 2014. Congratulations. I cannot wait to see what life has to hold for us.
Fellow graduates of the class of 2014, if you will now please stand.
Next is going to be the senior video with Alexa Carroll, Allison Simpson, and Brianna Miles. Please enjoy the welcome video. Thank you all.